Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sunday evening's Toon review. Of course, looking back over yesterday's 0-0 draw at Crystal Palace, there is certainly probably more than likely going to be some talking points from that game. Of course, we heard Billy's feelings right at the end of the game and at half-time, but we are yet to see what Stato thought of the game. And I'm sure we will see that very shortly. And of course, we have the all-important play ratings as well. Some will be good, some probably not, but we will wait and see. We'll go through some comments before we get cracking, but just the usual, guys. If you do enjoy tonight's show, don't forget to hit that like button for us. And of course, if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. It's completely free. Come and join this wonderful community we have on the Toon Review and help us onwards to 17,000 subscribers. We're halfway there. We're over 16 and a half, so we are getting there rapidly. So with your help, we'll get there sooner rather than later. And of course, you can donate to the channel tonight if you do so wish by hitting that $sign at the bottom of the live comments. Peter says early on, Man United lost in stoppage time. Yeah, it was quite hilarious. Santos says top four is looking ever more likely, which would be amazing. Just need to improve our finishing, and we are there. Would be disappointed if we're not top four at the end of the season. Steve says, so Newcastle United have 4 winnable games next, then Liverpool, who are wobbling, and Brighton at our home fortress. Brighton have just lost their best player to Arsenal, so the fixtures are on the Maggies' side. Edward the High Presser says, Wilson is great, but gets no service. Time for him to be the best impact striker in the Premiership, and Isak, who creates chances to be number 1, maybe. I'm not sure he gets no service. I don't agree with that, but we'll come on to that shortly anyway. Man United fans chanting, we've got Bruno in the middle. What a Poundland fan base. Yes, they are indeed. Arturo, thank you very much for your €10 super chat. He says, we have to win games. Felt frustrated yesterday, and Bruno has to play as a right centre midfielder. Interesting. Tom says, evening, everyone. I feel bad for Wilson, but do you think in the summer they would consider replacing him? That would be cutthroat. That would be really cutthroat. Dave says, Trossard looked impressive in the cameo today for Arsenal. Yes, he did. Would have liked to see Newcastle in for him. Freshneda looks more likely. Arsenal now as well. Need to get some signings. On the signings front, Alex, would you expect business to be done this week?
Yes. I don't think it's more likely that Freshneda is going to Arsenal, because there have been certain people saying that it's just, it's all going to be settled this week and there's nothing confirmed. So, but this week for us anyway, I would assume so, especially after the goalless draws and lack of goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might. They were already. It's been alluded to, sort of the midfield depth Eddie Howe talked about in press conferences. It's well known that we were looking for another attacker as well. And now, the fact that we're dropping points based on not scoring, even though we're creating lots of high-value opportunities, it just makes sense that they would pull the trigger on some sort of offensive player, whether that's a midfielder, a winger, a striker, who knows? But we'll see.
Now, Billy, obviously the chances that we failed to put away again yesterday were a little bit of a worry. We'll come on to Callum very shortly, but the transfer window itself, we definitely need depth in the midfield. And would we be looking for another striker, do you think? Because obviously replacing Chris Wood, because we all thought that we'd have a replacement basically straight away. And I think a lot of the pundits are saying that as well. They're quite shocked we let a striker go. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think the first one for the door being an attacker of some kind, whether it be a right-sided, left-sided, fills all 3 positions up front kind of role player. I think to sell to get rid of Wood otherwise would be ridiculous, and I don't think that the people who've got in charge of the club now are that dense to not do that. So I think a forward will be the first one through the door, and maybe a midfield afterward. But I think we need a right back cover too. So
yeah, it's interesting. Alex, were you a bit surprised at the kind of? I mean, look, we know this happens time and time again when Newcastle don't win a football game. There seems to be a crisis. And again, a lot of people on social media going way over the top. We should have won that game yesterday. But, there's no need to panic yet. We're still third. Man United couldn't beat Arsenal today. They lost. We got a point at the Emirates. And so there's a lot to, and the football we played yesterday as well, there's a lot to be positive about.
Yeah. We're well ahead of schedule. We're playing way better than I thought we were going to be at this point in time, post-takeover. We're creating a ton of opportunities. It's just a bit of quality. So, form comes and goes with certain players. Obviously, Miggy's not quite hitting the target as he was. We could do with some midfielders chipping in a bit more as well. And obviously our striker, it's just all poor form in terms of in front of goal has all sort of hit at the same time for all of our offensive players. Whereas previously their good form all came at the same time and we were beating everyone by 4 and 5 goals. It's just what it is, but we're still, if we were playing poorly and only getting 4 or 5 shots a game, this would be a concern. But the style of plays there, it's just about finishing chances, which can be rectified through form, training, and bringing in some more clinical players, which we can do. So I'm not particularly worried. We'll be fine. We're still getting points. We're still moving along. There's still momentum.
We're still getting clean sheets. We're still unbeaten. It's the unbeaten run continues. Billy, a good point from Solo there says, I thought yesterday we could have made subs earlier with Maxi and Isak to give them more time to impact the game. Should have been 60th minute instead of 73rd. Now, I tend to agree with that. I mean, we did say, at the halftime break, we both agreed that maybe give Wilson till about 55, 60 minutes and see if he'd made any sort of impact. But there wasn't anything there. Do you think they should have come on earlier?
I think he wouldn't. He was about to do it, and then Willock started getting to the game, didn't he? So
yeah,
he started taking that fullback on again and beating him for fun, and I think that delayed it for 5 minutes or so. But yeah, the hour mark was the perfect time for me. Certainly with Wilson, in Wilson's case, he clearly wasn't at the races yesterday. And anything he did really, and he did the physical work, but yeah, for giving the ball away too often, missing chances. Yeah, just didn't look at the race at all, did he? So
interesting.
If he made one sub then and then one later on, maybe I don't know, but that's the way I'd have done it.
Arturo, thanks for another €10. He says, I insist Lozano is a beast. Would go for him 100%. I still remember the headaches he caused against Germany in 2018. He got the pace, and we need that. Ian Fleming,
5 years ago.
Yeah, it was. Ian Fleming, thank you for your £5 super chat. And says he sees Dylan Stevenson has joined Hamilton on loan. Yes, he has. Good luck to Dylan, and hopefully bangs in a few goals and really pushes himself to really be in Eddie Howe's thoughts because he deserves to be. Now, Alex, we come on to Wilson. I think it's clear to everybody that Callum hasn't looked right since the World Cup. Now, we know he's had a dreadful illness. Obviously, they haven't let us know what that illness was, but it's clearly took its toll on him. But, when you talk about Callum Wilson, you're talking about roughing up the defenders, running the channels, holding the ball up really well and finishing. Nothing's been there the last few games. Is it a concern for you?
I wouldn't say it's a concern. I think it could be if it persists, but we've got Isak wanting to play football. We've got a very, very good striker available to just come and play. I think prior to the Crystal Palace game, I said, if it was anybody else, I think he should have been dropped for that game. But because it's Wilson and who he is and what he's done and how clinical he is, I think he deserved the Crystal Palace game anyway. He's played it. It wasn't brilliant. I think now it's time for Isak up front. I think take the heat off Wilson a little bit. And, there needs to be competition for places. If you're a striker and you're not scoring, let the other striker have a go. There needs to be, it's not that Wilson's not a good player anymore because he still is. He's a brilliant player. It's just, it is what it is. It's we need people to score. So it needs to be rotated.
Are his injuries taking toll a little bit, do you think? Because that's a worry with a lot of fans.
I'm not sure that's the issue. I think it's a little bit of style and physicality in who we've played recently. If we looked at the first few games of the season as well, he really struggled. I know he scored against Forest, but the first few games of the season we were against some massive defenders, massive centre-backs, and he was getting bullied, and he was still doing well, all considering. And it took a little bit of time for him to start making his lovely flowy runs and doing all of this. And then he obviously got his injury. And it just feels like he's going through that period where just Palace were just massive and he was just bouncing off everyone. He couldn't keep the ball. It was a tough team to play against. It's more of a positive on Palace than a negative against Wilson, because it's really hard to try and get through all of them. They're good players. They're big players as well.
Yeah,
but Isak is a lot bigger.
Yeah,
he's happier to take the ball to feet and be dribbly and powerful. And I think it would have suited Isak's style a little bit more potentially. And I think now that's one game too far, and it's got to be Isak next game.
Interesting comment there from Shane over in Australia, just saying about the meltdown and that we were never in a title race, and that's very true for me. Fourth place has got to be our ambition now. The points gap tells you that has to be our ambition, and it'd be disappointing. But then again, if we finish in Europe, is that really disappointing? Of course not. Not absolutely no way. Now, one subject that has cropped up a lot during today, Billy, is about Miggy, and is he becoming a little bit predictable now? Going down the right-hand side and then cutting back most of the time. Now, I did see Miggy use his right foot a couple of times yesterday to put the ball across, but you said a couple of weeks ago about maybe the wingers swapping over a couple of times during the game just to mix it up a little bit. Do you think that should come in now because it's a little bit too predictable what Miggy's going to do?
Well, first, I don't think he's predictable, because I think he does the outside run maybe 3 times out of 10. He's not predictable in that respect. Yeah. Look, he had a fantastic run of form before Christmas, and like we saw with Joe Willock a couple of seasons ago, you're not going to maintain that run of form forever. He's still playing really well. He's just not scoring the goals, and I think that's why people are saying he's predictable. I don't think he is. However, I do think that at times in the game, we can swap the wingers over just to give the fullback something different to think about. Well, we never seem to do it. It's very rarely when we do it. And when we do it, it seems to work. So I don't know whether they don't do it more often.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Arturo, thank you for another €10. He says, what I like about Shelvey is that he allowed Bruno to go more forward. He plays better that way. We have to gel that kind of profile player. Look, I mean, Shelvey, we don't know when he's coming back, if he's coming back, if he's leaving, anything like that. Whether that happens this week, I don't know. Again, we'll have to wait and see. But Bruno further forward for me is more effective. But look, some of the football we played yesterday was bloody fantastic. Let's be honest, some of the one-touch football, the movement. And Alex, I said to Billy yesterday, you look back over Newcastle United over the last few years, and that has been one of our major problems, is we've been very static. We've had no movement going anywhere. But yesterday and under Eddie Howe, the movement has improved so much. And some of the passing yesterday was brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. I think Cher had a great game with that. And Willock and Joe Linton were combining, numerous times they combined some lovely stuff with Joe Linton's little back heel, sort of down the line ball.
That was fabulous, that.
It was. Yeah, we've got, again, this is hard work on the training pitch. This is drills, and passing sequences and training and hard work and tactics. Yep. This is none of this. I don't do tactics. That shows you what hard work on the training pitch can do. You can build the understanding with the players. They're practicing those line runs against the fullback and the midfielder, and they've got it down to a fine art. It's just that that final bit. Do we need more of that in training? Maybe a bit of practice under pressure when they do start storming into the box. That final bit. Maybe they're smashing it in training and it's just deer in the headlights on the pitch. Who knows? Yeah. I can't answer the question, unfortunately. Yeah. But yeah, the one-touch football was brilliant. There was, you can definitely see improvements month to month in this team. We're seeing move funny set pieces, and although we're not scoring them, which is annoying, but I like to. It's nice that we can see lots of improvements. We're seeing cool stuff. Yeah.
Dave is mentioning the comments that Kieran Dyer made on Sky yesterday. Now, obviously, I didn't see them straight away or hear them straight away because I was doing the watch along and finishing the show. But saying to the likes of Botman can sort of go on to a bigger and better team with history. And I mean, what planet was he on, Billy? Because that is a ridiculous statement to make.
Yeah, it was a veiled kind of what's the word for it when you praise someone? Can't think of the word. It was a veiled kind of. I can't think of the word when you praise someone. What's the word for it? Begins with a C. I don't know. Compliment. That's it. It was a veiled compliment, wasn't it? It was saying that how great we've recruited, but that they should be playing for better clubs, in his opinion. It's total just lack of respect for a club that he kind of made his name up, got all his England caps at.
Oh yeah,
and basically shit on while he was here. So. Yeah, I'll take what he says with a pinch of salt, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it was quite funny that everybody was sort of tagging sort of Lee Bowyer's name to it and saying, have a word, will you? Very interesting. Now, one guy I do want to talk about who I thought was absolutely superb yesterday, Alex, and that was Fabian Schär. He was outstanding yesterday, and not just defensively, but going forward. And then he creates that wonderful chance for Joe Linton in the first half. And unfortunately, Joe hit it straight at the goalkeeper. But he just seems to be, stepping up. Obviously, he'll have seen all the praise that Botman gets and things like that. But the two of them together, and the way he played yesterday was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's one of his best games. I think if he'd scored, it would have been his best game in terms of. I know he's had some fun games with pinging long balls and he's hit some 30-yard screamers. I get that, but that if he'd have managed to have scored in that game, that would have been the most complete game he's ever had for us. I think because he had everything.
Yeah,
ground duels, aerial duels, lots of long passes, dribbling quite technically, tackling really well, lots of tackles, being really dangerous in the opposition box. Just he ticked every possible box you could want from him as a centre back and more. He was delivering more than what you expect from centre backs. He was doing loads.
Yeah.
Almost a complete performance and played somebody in creatively as well. Almost a complete performance. If he'd have scored, it'd have been 10 out of 10 man of the match, absolute freak. But he still one of his best games in our shirt. It's just a shame we didn't win.
For me, he just gets better every game.
When he plays like that, you actually can see him play the defensive midfielder, can't you? As number 6. You can actually do it.
Yeah, he does step out. He's done it a few times in the past, hasn't he? But it's interesting. But he does like stepping out. Mark, I think you're misunderstanding what we're saying here. Cut Wilson some slack. We're not. Listen, we are Wilson's biggest fans. I said that yesterday. I love Callum Wilson, right? And we're not getting at him. But something clearly isn't right, and that is worth talking about. Just because we're talking about saying, is he 100% fit or things like that, it doesn't mean we're having a dig at him. I mean, this is the point I'm trying to make. You can't, every time a discussion is made, people seem to think, get on his back and stuff like that. We're not doing that. But you can't tell me.
We said he's top quality and he's clinical. I said that in my description. So
yeah, but you can't say that he's at the top of his game at the minute. It's just not there.
There's two options. Asking why. You leave him in and hope that it comes back. He comes back into form, or you play the other striker that we've literally dropped 60 million on the other striker. We play him and create some competition. Those are the two alternatives. I don't think it's divisive to say, okay, maybe try the other guy. I don't think that's mean to Wilson. Wilson's had quite a number of games now. I said last week, Palace, if it was anybody else, if it was an unnamed striker, I would have dropped him for Palace. But because it's Wilson, I personally am happy for him to have another game. And now, it's another game that he wasn't brilliant in. So you've got to change it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what he does on Tuesday. A lot of people in the chat are saying, he needs a rest. Just take him out, and either that rest will do him good, or if he is fit, then they'll give him a kick up the arse.
We did have a week between Premier League fixtures, so it's not like we've been super busy. We had a week. We had 6 and a bit days between matches.
Look. Form is temporary, class is permanent. We know that, okay? So Callum Wilson may just have it might be just in a drop of form.
He's playing like a man who had a bit of debilitation through an illness. He literally is playing like that, and he's not yet back to his full self. That's all he is. Like you say, class is permanent.
Do you think the club should come out and say what the illness was, or is that's nothing to do with us as fans? We just know that he's been ill. Get on with it.
Yeah, a doctor wouldn't say it, would he? He's got privacy on his side there, I guess.
Yep.
I can't remember how Eddie Howe described it. I think he said, did he say seriously ill, or did he use the word serious? He used an adjective to describe how ill he was, and it was.
Was it not
I
a
can't remember
debilitating
exactly what
illness? He
said.
said, or something
Is that what he
along
said?
them lines. Something
Yeah,
along them
so
lines.
it wasn't just a cold. He had something that really knocked him for six. The fact that Eddie Howe was describing it in that way in a press conference. So,
well, there was rumours that it might have been a COVID illness because he was training away from the rest of the team. Remember, when he came back to the training pitch, he was training separately. So, but that's all pie in the sky. We don't know, and of course, if Callum doesn't want to let people know what was wrong, that's his. He's perfectly entitled to that. Jim says Bruno is a cyborg. How the hell was he fit for yesterday? I have no idea. That came to me as a shock. I honestly thought that he'd gone down there just to support the lads, like Trips did last year. How wrong could we be? And he seemed okay. I mean, he played all right yesterday. I was staggered that he was on the pitch, though, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Craig Hope said he was going to be fit, and obviously Craig Hope was right. He had some information. Journalists are correct sometimes. And obviously, I think Craig Hope's a little bit more respected than some of the other ones as well. So it is what it is. I think probably the crying and the limping that he did. Don't attack me for that. It's literally what he did. Maybe that exacerbated it. It made us a bit more scared that he was definitely going to be really injured.
Well, he probably felt that at the time, didn't he? He probably thought it was a serious injury.
I think he was maybe quite upset. I think he was thinking about the Southampton games and the possible final, and he got a bit in his own head and he got a bit sad. Fair enough, he's come to the club. He wants to play in these games, and maybe it was just a little tiny strain. It was fine. 2 days later, and he could train. Lucky for us, because normally it's the opposite news. So, thank God we got a bit of luck with the injury front this time.
Absolutely. Colin says, "Calm down and just enjoy it worry free." Well, who's not calm? We're talking. I mean, this is strange. Right? Come on, Colin. You've got to have a discussion about the match, otherwise there's no show to do. So we're going to say, why, is it a worry that we didn't scam? We're putting the questions out to you guys as well as us talking about it. But Gordon Bennett, you've got to talk about it. And, we didn't score. We missed some really good chances. Is it becoming a worry? There's no need to calm down, Colin. We all talk about football. But there you go. We're 15 unbeaten. It's class. Exactly. There was a lot of positives to come out of that. Another clean sheet yesterday, which is fabulous. I've never known so many clean sheets for Newcastle United since I supported them, to be honest. I have never seen such a good defence.
We could have played for another half an hour and they were never going to beat us.
Yeah. But, Nick Pope, Billy, he's got nothing to do for practically the whole game. And the Mateta hits an absolute stinging, rasping shot. And what a save by Nick Pope. And that just proves that the guy is fully concentrated. And for me, he's the best keeper in England right now.
Absolutely no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. Like you say, nothing to do for 70-odd minutes. Called into action with a real close, powerful shot that most goalkeepers wouldn't have even dived for. He not only dived for it, he parried it wide. It was a superb save. And like you say, he's the best keeper in England at the minute. He's world class. I think he's world class. He does everything a goalkeeper needs to do in this modern game. And does it all with comparative calm as well. So 100% the best goalkeeper in England, 100%.
I mean, Alex, he's got to be ahead of Pickford right now, surely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I heard some awful pundits talking about the goalkeeper situation and talking about how Pickford's better with his feet and all of this. They obviously don't watch us very much because we play out from the back. We dink it around in little triangles in our own box. I know a lot of us don't like that. It makes me nervous too, don't worry. But we do it, and Nick Pope does not make mistakes. So the kicking's fine. He's rushing out is way better than Pickford's. His saving is way better than Pickford's. 12 clean sheets, best save percentage in the league. Speaks for itself. Pundits chatting absolute nonsense, makes no sense.
Yeah.
He's a beast. There's nobody better than him at the moment. You Ramsdale flapping at stuff today. Also, I've heard.
He was at fault for the Man United second goal. He came to punch a corner, just completely messed it up. And Martinez, a good header actually.
I mean, Edison making mistakes as well. who can you arguably say is better right now? I mean, fair enough if we're talking about form, but for recent form in the last few months, there can't be anybody better than Pope in our league. People might say Martinez.
The one
in the
closest
league form.
Raya. The one closest is Raya, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Raya's a very, very good keeper. But look, people can bang on about what's his face at Liverpool. I can't remember. Yeah, he's made loads of mistakes this season. De Gea's made mistakes. For me, Nick Pope has been faultless when he's called into action. But it's the guys in front of him as well, which would need to take a lot of the credit as well, because they stop the ball before the shots come in. The flinging themselves in front of the ball.
Even that though, Pope does have the best save percentage.
Yeah, well, because when he does get shots on him, he saves them. But Dan makes a point there saying, honestly, a draw at Selhurst Park is a good result. They're a decent side and always difficult to break down at home. And they do very much park the bus against Newcastle United. But listen, Man United went there during the week, struggled. And Man United been, whatever you think of the club itself, they've been on decent form this season. The last few months. And, to come away from Selhurst Park disappointed we only got a draw is a measure of where we are as a club now. There's no doubt about that. But I think because of the performance, that it was so good and so dominant, after that first 5 minutes yesterday, we dominated the game. There's no doubt about that. And it's just a disappointment that we didn't take our chances when they came. Joe Linton had a good opportunity. Wilson had a header straight at the keeper. Isak had a header straight at the keeper as well. We could have scored 4 or 5 yesterday, but that's just the way. Yes, yeah. That's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, we can't be disappointed.
Football-wise, if you could look at results this year, Southampton away, we put 4 past them. Fulham, we put 4 past them. I'd argue with anyone on this planet that we played better yesterday and that 0-0 draw. I thought we were outstanding yesterday. Just the goals been going. Simple as that.
We had 15 corners. 15 corners.
Well, I was coming on to that, yeah. I was coming on to that, Alex. Is that not a concern that we are not converting from set pieces at the minute? It's a bit stale. We have all these corners, and I think there was only 2 I can remember that we actually got headers. But again, that didn't trouble the goalkeeper.
I think the coaching staff are saying the same as us, because every week we're seeing new variations of set pieces. We're seeing Trippier receiving it deep, Miggy's having a go, doing different things, Joe Linton's having a go. You can see that there's a ton of work going on with the set pieces. You can see that they're trying. And it's not like back in the old days with other managers where it was just the same old stuff week after week. I'm not bothered by it because it's frustrating that we're not scoring, but we can see week to week we're trying different variations and different styles of set pieces. So I can't really get angry because I can see that the coaches and the players are really trying to make it work and get it to click. It's just not dropping, and it's really frustrating because on top of that, we've also got an enormous team with Joe Linton, with Byrne, Botman.
That's the thing. It's the height. It's the height
massive.
We have in there.
We're enormous.
Perhaps the height that we have aren't very good at heading the ball on a certain target. As simple as that.
I mean, they're great at heading it 3 feet right at the post.
Yeah. Now, of course, a couple of comments in the chat about this potential contract offer, a pre-contract to De Vrij. I don't know if you've seen that, guys. Apparently, Newcastle United have offered a pre-contract to De Vrij.
The Dutch guy.
The Vrij or whatever.
Is it Inter or did he move?
Is he not at Juve?
Inter Milan, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
Skriniar and De Vrij.
Wherever he is, De Vrij. Yeah. So that's been reported by Dazen. So we'll have to wait and see. But interesting if we have. Very interesting. How needs backing this window? At least 1 to 2 players capable of walking into our first 11. Billy, I mean, it's been mentioned that this starting 11 that we have is very much set in stone now. Even though we have ASM and Isak coming back. But, the games that we have coming up, because it's going to be a very busy period. Everybody, we're playing more games in the back half of the season because of the World Cup. So is that a worry that we might tire out? Is it why we've got to get these players in the door?
I think the owners want about the manager, but they can't because of the rules, which they're adhering to. I think it's this revenue to wages structure that we're at the minute. It's what's causing us not to be active in the transfer market. Chris Wood's gone out the door. We can replace him, but unless we get other people out the door that want high wages and aren't playing, then I don't see us bringing many players in at all. To be honest, but we need to.
Yeah,
it's whether they want to break the laws or not. Other clubs seem to be doing it willy nilly without even a forethought for what might happen to them. Seems like our owners are a bit more caring about what happens to the club in the long run. So
you wouldn't happen to be talking about that team in London, would you, Billy?
Well, one of them. There's not just them. There's other clubs doing it too. There's one in Nottingham for starters.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. I mean, we do need. I think we have to, Alex, because fatigue is going to be an issue at the back end of the season because of the way we play. The press and the high intensity that we play at under Eddie Howe. We need that squad depth.
Yeah, I mean, we had a training camp, didn't we? We went away in January last year, and I don't think we're getting that this year, are we? I think there was some internationals in March, so I don't think the season's playing out quite the same way it did previously because of the World Cup and everything. So I think that's it now. I think it's a long slog, and we've just got to keep going. We're on 20 matches played, so we've got 18 left plus cups. So we've got three potential cup games if we get to the final. So 21 games left, high intensity style. We need one more midfielder. We can't just play with three midfielders until, 8 weeks, Shelby-ish. When's he going to be back? After Valentine's Day, maybe back into February, early March. We're banking on nothing going wrong until then. That's dangerous. Secondly, 2 strikers, both of which have had injuries in recent history. I think it's unfair to say that Isak's going to get injured again because he's not as injury prone as Wilson. He generally plays fine. It was just an anomaly injury. But we need to bring. I would say we need at least 2. I think we need midfield cover, and we need another attacker. I think things like the Trippier understudy, although important, can possibly wait till the summer. And upgrading like a share understudy as well maybe can wait till the summer. I think we just need to cover. Although that being said, I think a long-term injury to Trippier really screws us as well because of the way we play. I know we're all very sad that Bruno might have been out. Fortunately, he's not. But I think it would be even worse if Trippier's out because who's gonna take all these set pieces that we're not scoring anyway. But even so, it's so integral to the way we play. And not only that, he's a really, really good captain. He's a part of the reason we don't concede very much. I don't know. I think 2 minimum, midfield striker. Wood's gone out, so you could argue that a third is justified based on that we've had one out the door as well. But it is integral to it. Maybe not push, but at least maintain, just in case. We don't want to implode the season.
Billy, you said a few weeks ago that you were worried about us competing with teams who just park the bus. Now, obviously, Palace did pretty much that yesterday until the injury time when they seemed to come out at us and try and pinch the game. Do you think other managers will look at that and think, right, that's the way to contain them? We just sit back and ask them to break us down and the struggle? Because I think if managers do that, it'd be a risk because we only struggled yesterday because we didn't take our chances. Even though Palace parked the bus, we got into some great positions.
Yeah, I think there's been a massive improvement in that, actually, from the Bournemouth game at home, the Palace game at home to now. We actually created an awful lot yesterday. Will the managers do that? Some managers haven't got any choice in the matter because they know they can't match us for our intensity with the press and stuff. And to go on the attack against us is sometimes suicide. So some managers at the lower clubs have no choice in the matter. I don't think the upper echelons of the table would do it. Maybe Spurs will do it at St James's Park. Maybe Liverpool will, but I don't think so. I think that's just not their style. So I think with the games we've got left, I think favourably falls on us because I think the teams that we've got coming to St James's won't be, unless you've got the bottom of the table teams like, I don't know who's done the bottom, we haven't played yet, Southampton, someone like that. I think West Ham will do it next Saturday, for instance, or whenever we play, the week Tuesday, whenever it is.
Yeah.
But most of the teams have to do that because they can't compete with us on a fitness and energy level. So you can't decry them for doing it. It's not very nice to watch. But I've noticed improvement in the way we're breaking teams down now, which is a real good thing.
Yeah. Stephen made a comment there about Vieira's comments about us spending millions. Disrespectful and untrue. I mean, this is becoming a farce. I mean, you've got Chelsea and, Arsenal, Man United spending all these millions of pounds. We spend it nowhere near. Nottingham Forest, we're not even spending what they are. And still managers come out and have a go at us for spending millions. I mean, it's just bullshit, Alex.
I mean, West Ham have spent more than us at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes no sense. It makes no sense. This conversation might be justified in 5 years' time if we get the revenue in and the sponsors and we start spending like a consistent Champions League team. Then fair enough. If they want to throw it at us, they can throw it at us. But at the moment, no, we've not. It's not fair yet because we've not spent it yet. So, I mean, hold that card and play it when it's time. But it's not yet time because we've not spent anywhere near what other people have spent. As you alluded to Nottingham Forest and Chelsea, the fact that why are we not hearing Klopp in press conferences whinge about Chelsea? Well, we got whinged about so heavily. Well, I don't understand. Is there an agenda against us from Klopp? Like, surely not. I'm not. I don't like biting on conspiracy theories, but it just makes no sense. There's no consistency. It's very odd.
Yeah.
We've not spent the money. We've not spent any money this window. None.
I know, and that seems to be the case. I mean, Billy, is it starting to grind on you, these managers? Because it seems to me that this is their excuse every time that things don't go their way. They turn it into Newcastle United having money.
Well, the point is they're not criticising fellow cartel members, are they? That's the whole crux of it for me. Spurs, Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City seem to get a free card to spend whatever they want. Yeah, newcomers to the party that they don't want people to, invade, getting criticised for spending money when we're not, which is even more ridiculous. So it does go on a little bit, but at the end of the day, if we're living rent free in their head, then it can't be a bad thing, can it?
Well, I think we're going to be living rent free in a lot of teams' head for a long time to come. Robert reckons Wilson can only sprint at 80% to avoid a hamstring injury. Do you think that's in his mind, Alex, when he's going to sprint?
No.
Thinking, do I go at full pelt or not?
No, absolutely not. No, he's a professional athlete. They will have gone through this with the strength coaches and with all the physios. Absolutely not. When he's ready to do 100% sprints, he does 100% sprints. That's how it. There's no way a professional athlete will run around doing 80% sprints. No, not true.
We saw it in the World Cup, didn't we? We saw it in the World Cup. We saw him breaking through international teams' defences with his pace. So, absolute nonsense.
Grandad Shed says, I've heard it suggested Callum has long COVID. Look, the way he seems to be, it could well be that. And the way Eddie Howe described his illness, it's very interesting for me. I mean, it's none of our business if Callum doesn't want people to know. That's fair enough. But it does seem like something is affecting him. Samsonite says, let's face the facts. Wilson hasn't scored since the end of October. Isak is fit. Let him have a go at starting. I mean, that's interesting, Alex. He hasn't had no goal since October. Obviously, we've had the World Cup break. But is it time? Is it time to give Isak the front go and say, show me what you can do?
Yes. He looks fit. He looks fully fit and ready to go. In fact, I'm pretty sure Eddie Howe said that in his press conference that he was ready to go. Yeah, and he scored. So fair enough. Wilson set him up, but Isak had to be in the right position. He had to, it's one of those positions where you're only standing in the right place if you're a good attacker. And he had the nous to be in the right place at the right time, and he had to put it away. So yeah, he's fit. He's ready. He costs 60 million. He's young. He literally just scored in 2 matches ago. So he needs to start. He's got to start. Simple as.
Yeah. Kenneth says Wilson has been great. Don't get like Man United fans and Arsenal fans. Wilson will be back all guns blazing. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Kenneth, we're not getting like Man United fans and Arsenal fans. We're just discussing why he's not looking at 100% at the minute. It doesn't mean we're after his head. I mean, this is why fans sometimes go over the top with stuff. We're just discussing why he's not looking. Yeah. We're just discussing why or what could be the problem. That's a discussion.
I mean, at this moment in time, Alexander Isak offers us an extra string to our bow. We talk about service. Alexander Isak doesn't necessarily need the service. He can make goals for himself. So he's going to be a plus point in our side when he comes in. And I think he'll be in Tuesday, if I'm perfectly honest.
I mean, we can't win. At the start of the season, we had people saying, "Oh, he's made a glass. Can't play Wilson anymore. We need an upgrade. We can't." So it doesn't matter which way we go, we get done for it. So,
but when he's recovered, Callum Wilson will be able to threat to any side in the Premier League, as he always has been.
Absolutely, he will. 100%. Yep, no doubt about it. Stanley says, "I'm really enjoying this season. What a ride we are on." Absolutely. It is very much like a roller coaster ride. Paul was calm until Colin made that comment. Geordie Boy says, "We have the cake, just need a little more depth to add the icing." Indeed. Cher was unreal. Man of the match, says Niall. Nick Pope should be England's number one, says Rossi. I totally agree with that. Mark says, "We played great yesterday. Any other day, we would pump teams." Yeah, and I've seen a few mentions in the comments that someone is due a hiding shortly because of these chances that we're not taking, Billy.
And we said it before, didn't we? We said it earlier in the season when we weren't scoring. And then we went on a run where we scored four at Fulham, or wherever it was, five against Brentford. And it came to fruition. And I think it's going to happen again because we're creating chances galore.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, these are going to start going in. And whoever it's against is going to get going with a real good audience behind them. So, yeah, it's definitely going to happen. No doubt about it.
And let's just hope that it happens on Tuesday night when we go down to Southampton, because I think we will get a lot of chances there as well. But we just have to see what happens in the game. Jamie says, "I know it's amazing how far we've come in a short time, so I shouldn't pout. But yesterday still felt like a loss." Well, Jamie, that's a good thing in a way, because it just shows you, where we are and how far we've come. And I'm now past the stage of saying, look where we were 2 years ago and things like that. We are where we are now. The past is the past. And, it's probably a good thing that you're feeling like yesterday was a loss, because if you're feeling like that, then the players will be as well. And the players will have that extra impetus to stuff Southampton on Tuesday night. Shane says, 15 unbeaten, happy days, 2 to 3 new players, and a good window for me. Chris says, the way we've been getting the ball in dangerous positions has been quality lately. It's just that final touch that hasn't been clinical. Yeah, I mean, look at that ball, Alex, that, Jacob Murphy whipped across late on yesterday. It just needed somebody to throw themselves at the ball.
Yeah, there were countless opportunities where it was just slightly the wrong decision or just slightly mishit, like Wilson's header, a little bit too straight at the keeper. A few of the centre-backs had a few headers that went just wide of the post. Miggy's right-footed volley that really should have gone on target was a good opportunity.
Well, I did actually celebrate on the watch along that was in.
Well, I'm not surprised. So many high-value opportunities, good chances. And as we've just alluded to, 1 week soon, hopefully 3, 4, 5 of them will all go in the same game, and then we'll be very happy.
I mean, look, we all had a laugh about that yesterday when I celebrated the goal, because it rolled across the back of the net and I thought it was in. And then I see Miggy not celebrating. I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? I thought it was offside. And then obviously I saw that he'd missed the chance. But look, it's the midfield is solid for me. I think, Longstaff played well again yesterday. He had a dodgy first 10 minutes. I think he lost the ball a couple of times, but after that regained, regrouped himself and was at it again. But Willock again, Billy, down that left-hand side, he's so, I don't know what the word is, but you don't realise the pace that he's got.
Yeah, he's deceptively quick, isn't he? He had Mitch Ward on toast, didn't he, yesterday? Running past him for fun, but doesn't look like he's running quick, like you say. He looks languid, like Chris Waddle used to. He's got some engine, that lad has. And he ran himself into the ground in the end, didn't he? He was absolutely cream crack when he came up. He didn't want to come off, which is a good sign as well. Yeah. I thought, once again, I thought he was a real threat. I don't think we used him enough, actually. I thought we should have used him more often.
Callum Wilson didn't look too happy to be coming off either, Alex. He looked a bit grumpy when he came off.
Well, he's
which isn't a
wearing
bad
the
thing.
number 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's. We know he's a top professional. He's got a great mentality. He's, at the start of the season, I remember it, like Nottingham Forest and stuff. He came out and literally said, "People need to pass the ball to me properly." Like he's quite happy to speak his mind. He wants to be the main man. He wants to score goals. He's happy to do his job and train hard and work hard. So yeah, of course he doesn't want to come off. But it's not Dwight Gale on the bench anymore. It's a £60 million striker. So
yeah,
when he turns up, he turns up.
Indeed. Spike Milligan, thank you for your £10 super chat, mate. There's no comment there, but thank you again for a generous donation. Well, obviously, we'll be doing the player ratings very shortly, which is interesting to me. What these guys are going to rate some of the players. Will it be controversial or not? Who knows? Who knows? But if you are enjoying tonight's show, guys, as usual, hit that like button. And if you're new and like what you see, subscribe. It's completely free of charge. And also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we go live, upload, or we schedule in a show. And of course, you can donate to the Toon Review, as so many wonderful people have already tonight, by hitting that $ at the bottom of the live comments. And you can get your Toon Review merchandise right here.
So let's get down to business.
I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it.
Let's get down to business.
There you go, guys. The toonreview.co.uk, your place to go for merchandise. Now, across the back four, I don't know whether you guys noticed this yesterday, but I thought Dan Burn got forward a hell of a lot more than I'm used to seeing him, especially second half. He was overlapping more than I've seen him do since he's been put into left back, Alex.
Yeah, I think because it's needed, because it's necessary. I think it's quite clear now that we can't. There's not enough oomph for us to break these teams down if we don't use every available option. We can't just sit with that little back three shape, and because it is going to get predictable. We're having to try and do a bit more, which is why ultimately we will sign an attacking left back at some point in the future, so we can play a more balanced shape and system. I know everybody's loving Dan Burn at the moment. I love Dan Burn; he's brilliant. But long term, we'd want somebody who can be really, really offensive, and just have a lot more balance on both sides. Can you imagine with the way Willock and Joe Linton were playing, if they also had a really, really fast technical attacking fullback with them at the top end of that pitch during that movement, an additional player, all of a sudden there's more in the box, which means one of them can go in and the overload starts. There you go. That's how you get your goals. I can see Burns' improvement week to week offensively. He's getting more technical. He's getting fitter. He's making these nice runs, but he's still, it's not his game. So he'll be a very useful player for us, hopefully for the next few seasons.
Indeed.
But long term, we do need an attacking fullback, really.
Yeah. I think Cesare's had a bit of a Castoria with his comment here, saying that there's nearly 9,000 watching. I think he meant to put 1. There's nearly 1K watching, but the rest of it is correct. Please hit those thumbs up and consider subscribing and super chats, etc. But Cesare, I'm not sure whether you need to unfog your glasses or your eyesight's going a bit funny. But 9K, I wish the bloody was. Hopefully in the future. Right, we shall move on to the player ratings now because very, very interested to see what these guys will rate the guys for yesterday. And just to let you know, tomorrow night we will be live again at 8 o'clock with the match preview for the Southampton game. It'll be a match preview and any latest news, because I have no doubt that there will be bits and bobs coming out of the club tomorrow. I'll probably do a video as well, but tomorrow night we'll discuss anything else in further detail. 8 o'clock, match preview and latest news. So just to let you know on that. Right, we'll start off with his Holy One, Nick Pope, and we'll start with you, Alex.
Ooh, that's a tough one. He didn't have a lot to do. So I'll give him a flat 7 for his just general performance, and then I'm gonna bump it up. I'll bump it up to an 8. He gets a full point for the one save because it was that outrageously good. So maybe you guys want to give higher, but I feel like his general performance was a 7 because he didn't have a lot to do, and then one save gives him an entire point, and I'll give him an 8.
See, I feel very sorry for Nick Pope because he's having all these clean sheets, and we're still saying, well, he didn't have much to do, and we can't score him. So on that basis, I'm going to give him a 9 because I thought he controlled his box again really, really well when he needed to. Came out, cleared the ball. Again, as Billy mentioned before, playing out from the back, and it is very comfortable to watch. It's not like, oh my God, what they're doing. And also, for the save, it just had nothing much to do in the game, and comes out with a save like that because that was hit like a rocket. He caught that sweet as a nut, and Pope's reactions were just like absolute lightning. So 9 for me. Billy Bob?
Nick Pope's got total confidence in the men in front of him, but he still has to stay aware. When he played for England, he didn't have the confidence in front of him. We saw him make a mistake. Yesterday, he made the finest save I've seen this season. I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to give him a 9 for the performance yesterday, just for that save alone, because it was the best save I've seen this season. Great save. Great save.
Paul Tully clearly doesn't agree with you, Alex. He says 9 for Pope. 8 is ridiculous. I think 8 devalues what he does when he's not required to make saves. Interesting, but everybody's going to have their opinion. That's the whole point of these player ratings. Right, we'll move on to Kieran Trippier. And Billy Bob, we'll start with yourself on this one.
Back to his best again. Thought it was outstanding. Led from the front, got us moving forward as he always does, and defended really well as well. I think he got past him on the one occasion. Apart from that, he hardly got a kick, to be honest. Although he'd have you say that he had about 50 kicks to his leg the way he was rolling around like an arsehole. Yeah, I'll give him a 9 out of 10. Kieran Trippier.
Sorry, what was that? A 9?
Yeah.
I'm going with an 8. Simply because I think the amount of corners that we had and set pieces, again, he's not putting them in the right places. I don't know whether he's not putting them in the right places or the forwards aren't being there. I don't know. But listen, defensively, no problem at all. Bringing the ball out, playing fantastic stuff on the right-hand side, linking with Miggy. It's all great, as usual. And let's face it, 8 is still a very good score. So, yeah, he gets an 8 from me. I Like Coffee says, I miss Danielle and her 10s. We all do. Alex?
10.
I'm sorry?
Absolute 10. He was insane. I'm not going to... Fair enough. I'll go with the logic about Pope. I'm not going to criticize Trippier for people not finishing their dinner and not being in the right places. The man had 8 key passes in the match, 10 accurate crosses, 5 accurate long balls, created 2 big chances, and got 5 tackles, and captained the side, and got 100 touches. The man's a genius. It's not his fault people can't finish their dinner. What more does he do in that game? What more? He doesn't. He can't do any more in that game, in my opinion. He's 10 out of 10 performance. Okay. Absolute monster. What else can he do, really? Apart from maybe score a free kick. Like, what else can he do in a game of football? He put it on somebody's head 15 times. They've got to do better than that. It's not his fault.
Okay, that's fine, and that's everybody's opinion. So on average, he gets a 9 anyway, given our markings. So that's still pretty damn good. Jordy Boy says, "I feel sorry for the makers of Vera going against you lot." Thank you very much. Toon Dave says, "Someone check if Alex is actually Danielle in disguise." Has someone taken over Stato's body? Says Ian. Interesting. Right. Jan says 2 men are knocking at your door, Alex, in white coats. We'll move across to the other flank, where is Big Dan Byrne, and I'm going to give Byrne an 8. I thought he was solid again. Certainly no worries for me, and I liked his overlapping as well. So he gets an 8. Alex.
I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay.
I'm not sure how he gets an 8. Maybe. I mean,
well, listen, you're just giving
He lost the ball a lot as well in the air. 2 out of his 7 aerial duels. He was struggling with the air. The Palace was doing very well against him, considering how big he is in the box. That they got quite a dangerous chance from a corner where he didn't beat his man. So little bit off the pace with his aerial duels, which is probably the first time I've ever had to say that.
But what about his fantastic left foot half volley in the first half?
Yeah, that was a good effort. 90% pass accuracy, good shot, improved his. All right, there's a case to be made for an 8. I can give him an 8. That's fair. I can go as high as 8. I think.
There you go, Billy.
Yeah, I just don't think their right wingers got past him once. I don't remember once in the whole game where Eze or Elise or whoever was on that side went past him. It didn't happen.
No.
I'm going to give him an 8. I think that's solid 8 as well. Maybe it's close to 9 as others, but I don't think he played well at Trippier, so an 8 for me.
Yeah. Trull says Simon Cowell back on the panel tonight. Kate says, Alex, what are you drinking tonight?
In my head, I'm thinking the same as Paul. I'm thinking, what's Paul been drinking? Because he's given Kieran Trippier the same score as Dan Burn. In my head, that's insane. How? On what planet?
My planet. And on my planet, I do what the feck I want.
However, First Division Premier League.
Yeah, whatever. Right, moving into the centre backs. We'll start off with Sven Botman. Alex?
I've got to give him an 8. If I'm giving Burn an 8, I've got to give Botman an 8 because he was brilliant. So he won more of his duels. Very, very solid. Got a little bit kicked about in that game. It's the first time I've seen him been roughed up a few times, actually.
It was a nasty tackle off Will Hughes. Yeah.
A few nasty tackles as well. I think Guehi went in on him early as well. That was that early yellow card. I do think Guehi should have been sent off as well in that game. I think he was very fortunate not to have walked.
Yep.
I think Botman was very solid, deserves an 8.
Well, I'm giving him a 9. And the chat is pretty much all going 9s as well. I just think he was a Rolls Royce again yesterday. Very, very calm on the ball. So whenever we were under pressure, he gets the ball, he keeps things calm, he doesn't panic. And he just swoons like a Rolls Royce. He really does, the way he brings the ball out. Billy?
Yeah, I think 9's fair. I think he had a superb game as always. It's just regular for him, isn't it? He never gets less than an 8, and if he gets an 8, we think he's had a bad game. But yeah, I thought he had a good game yesterday, so 9.
Okay. Arturo, thanks for another €5. He says, I thought about getting Dahoud. He is a beast in FIFA 21. Yes, but we're now on FIFA 23, Arturo. Get with the times, man. Right, moving over to Fabian Schär. 10 for me all day long. I explained before in the show why I think that is the case. I think he absolute quality. He seems to get better every game. He's a handsome bastard as well. Let's put it that way. He just oozes class, Fabian Schär. I love him to bits, and a 10 for me. Billy?
Yeah, absolutely 10 out of 10. I mean, not only did he defend fantastically, he took us forward on many occasions. He played crafty little through balls through for Joe Linton at one point, which you'd say if it was Bruno, you'd say it was world class.
Yeah,
it was world class. He was up for it yesterday in a big way. He was disappointed with a point at the end of the game. You saw his face, the anguish. Just a fantastic footballer and a fantastic performance. 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, Arturo's sent another €2 in and said FIFA 22, actually, not 21. Thanks, Arturo. Alex?
I'll give him a 10. I think it was slightly off what Trippier's performance was, but like I said at the start, I don't see what Schär does any better to improve that performance as a centre back, apart from score, which is not really his job. I don't think he can do any. I don't think he's going to be able to deliver any better than that. That was near enough perfect. Yeah. 4 tackles, 2 interceptions. His long balls were great, winning all of his duels, and he was running into midfield, setting people up. Maybe he could have got some of those headers on target, but you can't do much better than that, really. So yeah, 10 is very fair.
Good. Right, moving into midfield now. And we'll start off with Bruno. And Alex, we'll start with you for Bruno.
I'm going to give him... Oh, God. You're going to kill me for this. I'm going to give him a 6. And not through any fault of his own necessarily. I think they just put all the big guys on him. 1 out of 6 ground duels. He was getting bullied around, but he still did magnificently well to try and control that midfield, considering how much they were on him. That Eze, because they substituted him off quite early in the second half because I think they just man-marked Bruno. They said to Eze, just every time Bruno touches the ball, on him like a rat every time. And Bruno found it difficult to play his normal game, down at 77% pass accuracy, only got 1 ground duel.
Sorry, I just see Brian Scott's comment. Brilliant. Get off. Not my channel, but get off. He's doing an Alex. Brilliant.
I mean, 6 is still above average. If a 5 is average, 6 is still above. I don't see how I give him a 7. I feel like I'd be lying to myself if I give him a 7.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give him a 7. I've got 7 written down in front of me. I thought he look. I'm staggered. I'm absolutely staggered that he played yesterday after the state of his ankle after last week's game, and he's managed to play. I think it's clear that yesterday that he didn't have much training last week. That was blatantly obvious. But I thought he did some decent things as well. And again, was integral in the midfield for us yesterday. So I think, 7 is still a really good score considering that he didn't train all week with the injury and he actually played yesterday. Abs clearly doesn't agree with you, Alex. Bruno is integral. 6 is a joke with a really annoyed emoji.
He is integral. But somebody explain to me why he deserves more than a 6. And if you convince me, I'll change my score. But you've got to say things.
You can't do that.
You can't just say I'm wrong. Tell me why, and if I agree with you, I'll change my score. I will increase it.
Abs is very much a big Bruno fan, and
I get that. I love Bruno
Abs
as well.
has now said Bruno gets underscored every effing week. Oh, I don't think he does. To be honest, he's had some very high marks from us.
I think Bruno and Botman are pretty safe in normally getting always super high scores.
Yeah, absolutely. Billy, what are you going to rate Bruno?
I'm going to give him an 8. I thought it was outstanding.
Okay.
I thought considering the bloke had 1 leg and could hardly walk on Monday, the performance that he gave was unbelievable. And not just as a defensive midfielder. When we needed pushing forward, he was our most advanced midfielder at times. And some of the passes he played, the little dink into the far post, expecting someone to be there, wasn't anyone there. But our furthest midfield player at times, considering he's our number 6, or he played as number 6, I thought he had an outstanding game. Considering he's on 1 leg, I thought it was great. Okay,
well, on average, that means he gets a 7. So, strange. I told you that we're going to cause controversy tonight. I told you. Right, we'll move on to Sean Longstaff now. And Billy, we'll start with you on Sean.
I'll give him an 8 too. I thought he had a shaky start. But after that, he was involved in lots of stuff yesterday, defensively, attacking again. After he did give the ball away in the first 10 minutes, I don't think he really did after that. I think, he very rarely give the ball away. Supports that right-hand side superbly. Covers every blade of grass on the pitch. It's kind of average performance for him is an 8 these days, and he was an 8 for me.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 as well. I was, like you say, he lost the ball a couple of times in the first 10 minutes, but I think, the first 5-6 minutes especially, it was as expected that Palace would come out at us and give us a real, try and get that early goal, and they did that, and they rocked us a little bit, but we got up off the canvas and we came back at them and controlled the rest of the game. So I thought Sean is just, listen, he's totally changed my opinion on him, and I really impressed every game now with Sean Longstaff. He does things right, he does things proper, and he's listening. He's obviously listening and learning about what Eddie and the coaching staff are trying to do. So an 8 for me, Alex.
Yeah, I think 8's fair. 9 duels, lots of tackles and interceptions. Really, really solid. Drew a couple of fouls as well. I think he must have taken some lessons from Bruno, because every match now, Longstaff's winning 2 or 3 free kicks for us without fail, taking the pressure off, keeping the ball. Unfortunately, though, no shots when I predicted him to score.
Well, that's
so
because you
maybe
predicted him to score, Alex.
Yeah, maybe I should stop just predicting anybody to score, and then maybe we'll score lots. Maybe I'm the problem.
Well, Botman did get a good header in yesterday that just missed, but just wide of the post. It wasn't far away.
Every week he does that. It's so unlucky.
Yeah.
But no, Longstaff not quite as good on the technical and passing front as Bruno was, but didn't get bullied around by the size of Palace. Stayed in it physically, winning a lot of duels, getting a lot of tackles, drawing the fouls, and just being a workhorse and doing a really good job of it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to Joe Linton now, and. I'm going to give Joe Linton an 8. I thought he was solid again. I would have scored him more had he put that shot in, actually. I was disappointed with that. But look, I love what Joe Linton does now. He takes no shit from anybody. He gets stuck in. And I thought he was very much an integral part of the team yesterday again, getting on the ball, working it well. So I'm going with an 8. Alex?
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. 3 shots on target, although I think one of them was a bit tame, but still really 88% pass accuracy as well is really, really high compared to the others. He's improved so much technically, releasing Willock so much, really good understanding, wasn't getting bullied, although I mean, who's going to bully Joe Linton, really? Is there anybody who's big enough to bully him in the league? Not really.
Yeah, absolutely.
A monster. Deserves an 8. Was brilliant.
Good stuff. Billy?
Yeah, 8 for me as well. Yeah, I can't disagree with anything you two said. Yeah, perfect descriptions.
Cool. Roger, you can't give us 7.5. We don't do halves on this channel. Alex would love it if we did, but unfortunately we don't. Right, we'll move across to Joe Willock now, and I'm going to give Joe Willock a 9. I thought he was awesome yesterday. I think he went a bit quiet in the second half. For the first sort of 10 minutes of the second half, he didn't really get on the ball, and then he came to life again. Was absolutely knackered when he came off, and you can understand maybe Eddie just saying to him, look, we've got a semi-final on Tuesday night, you're going to be a big part of that kind of thing, and get yourself a rest. But I thought his runs down the left-hand side first half were just magnificent, and again we just could not find the finishing touch to them. So a 9 for me. Billy?
Yeah, I agree with 9. I thought when he had the ball yesterday, he was a real threat every time he had it, and he did lots of defensive work too, where he's kind of carried the ball out of defence.
Yeah,
lots of pace, deceptive pace. Yeah, very, very good player, and he played a great game yesterday.
Okay, Alex?
I'm going to give him an 8, but I agree with everything you guys said.
Okay.
I mean, if I've given Joe Linton an 8, I can't give Willock more in my head. I feel like they both had similar games. They were both brilliant, technical. Didn't quite happen in the box, but I loved Joe Willock's work down the left-hand side, the pace, really, really good. But if I've given Joe Linton an 8, I've got to give Joe Willock an 8 because I think they had similar games in terms of what they produced for us.
Yeah, so, that's fine. Brian saying he didn't like his attitude when he came off. I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy if they come off looking angry because it means they want to be on, they want to be performing. And to be honest,
did he whinge? Did he? Or
well, I don't think he whinged. He just didn't look very happy. But the thing is, I think when you see players like that coming off in a game like that, they're probably angry that they haven't scored, and they're coming off and they can't get that winning goal. And I don't mind that at all.
Willock's been the go-to substitution, so he's probably just a bit annoyed at that. It's not his fault. It's just who's available on the bench and the current team composition kind of just. He's just unlucky that he's the guy that's got to come off sometimes when we want to make a change. It's not his fault. He had a much better game, to be fair.
He just got back in the game as well, hadn't he? He'd been quiet for 10 minutes. And then he came back into the game, and as soon as he did, he took him off, which was a strange timing for me. Yeah.
It's more about team composition than anything he's doing wrong. It's not his fault.
Yeah, I don't mind seeing them like that. I just think that means that they're pissed off, and next game they'll put it right and convert chances. So I'm not too fussed. Right, we'll move to Miggy on the right-hand side. Billy?
I'm going to give Miggy an 8. I thought he had his left-back Mitchell on toast again. The only thing he lacked from his performance was a goal, really. And he had a couple of chances to score. Well, one certain one which he should have scored. And had he scored, he'd have scored higher. But yeah, I thought it was a constant threat at all times that he was on, to be honest. And another one looked unhappy when he came off, to be honest.
Well, he comes off. It's the same substitution really every time we seem to play, which is a bit of a bummer for him. I'm going to give him a 7. Again, there was a couple of times I think he could have got a cross in straight away on his right foot, but he pulls it back and it just slows us down. It slows that attack down a little bit, and I just want to see him. I mean, look, he's clearly working on his right foot, because we saw a couple yesterday that he did cross with his right, and then he had a couple of shots which were just wayward. You can see what he's trying to do, recreate some of the goals he's already scored this season with curling it into the corner and things like that. But it didn't happen that way. But I still think, he was excellent. Very, very lively. Great defensively, again, coming back to help trips out. So, yeah, 7 for me. Alex?
I'll give him an 8. I think he had similar performances to Willock and Joelinton. I thought he did fine. He won us 4 free kicks. He won pretty much all of his ground duels with 3 tackles. He was annoying for them, but was just missing his shooting boots somewhat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think an 8. I think he did sort of similar output to sort of Joe Willock.
Okay.
I mean, Bukayo Saka did a biggie today, didn't he? That goal of his was a Miggy goal.
Yes, he did. Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant goal. Right, Callum Wilson now. I'll start Callum Wilson off, and I'm giving Callum a 5. I can't give him any more. He lost the ball so many times yesterday when it came up to him. And listen, I love bloody Wilson. I love him. I love his physicality. I love the way he bosses everyone around and creates all sorts of shit for defenders and things like that. But we want to see we need to see the real Callum back. We want to see the real Callum back because he's a monster when he's at it. But I don't think he's at it at the minute. But I don't also think that that's Callum's fault. Whatever's gone on behind the scenes with Callum, with this illness or whatever, I think it's really rocked him. And it's just going to take him a little bit of time to get back up to full speed. And I just think maybe give him a rest. Just let him sit the game out or sit on the bench, come on a substitute, whatever it may be. Just give him because if we keep playing him, and this is my worry, is if we keep playing him, and he continues to look a little off the pace, or he doesn't do it on the pitch, fans are going to start getting at him, and I don't want that to happen because Callum's been brilliant for Newcastle United. So hopefully we'll see him back to his best very, very soon. But I can only give him a 5 on yesterday's performance. Billy?
Well, the lad's had dinner on my table. He's been in my house on many occasions when he was at school with my stepson. So
Yeah.
I'll say this with a real heavy heart, but I want to give him a 3. I thought it was absolutely woeful.
A 3?
Shadows. Well, listen, if Chris would have put that performance in, we'd have been 2s and 3s, and there'd been no argument about it.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson came in the side yesterday, and it was diabolical. Not his fault, like you say. I'm not saying it through any lack of ability. The lad isn't well. He's recovering from some kind of illness. We don't know what it is, but it's clear that he's not his former self. He didn't contribute anything. Really, he did a bit of running. He ran it on a few times. A couple of times he kind of held the ball up okay, but that chance he should have scored in it, and he'll know that himself. He'll know that himself. He's a great player, and he will come back to get his 8s, 9s, 10s. Yesterday, I'm sorry, he just wasn't at the race at all.
Okay, Alex.
I will give him a 5, and I think that's generous, as a generous 5 as well. It didn't really compete physically with the Palace defenders. Is that his fault? Well, maybe not, but I think we could have done one thing to defend him with. I think we could have done a little bit more for him in terms of trying to play him in a better way. There were quite a few times where we just lumped it in a channel and just went, "Go on then, lad, go and beat off 2 giant Palace defenders." And I don't think it was the right choice. I think that was kind of the wrong ball for him. Sometimes you want to release him early when he's playing those bendy runs, yeah, but I don't think the lads helped him necessarily with the choice of ball into him and the choice of attacks. But yeah, he's got to do a little bit better. Sometimes he normally just pulls things out of the bag himself and starts to create things with a bit of quality. But he didn't really play anybody else into the game either. Didn't do much himself. I'll give him a 5. I'll try and be nice.
Well, look, people should know how we feel about Callum Wilson on this channel. And we are big fans of Callum, and we always have been. But it's just one of those games, and we have to rate it how we see it on the pitch. It's as simple as that.
Look,
whatever we think
plenty
of
of credit
Wilson.
in the bank as well. We've got plenty of credit in the
Absolutely.
bank. We know
Of course,
he's going to be an England international striker again soon. But at the moment, he's just not out of the races. And
I just think he needs a rest. I genuinely think he needs just to sit on the bench, let Isak take over for a while, and maybe that'll give him not just getting back to health, but it'll give him the impetus to get out there and say, right, if Isak can do that, well, I'm going to do this, and go out and get some goals as well. So we will wait and see. Right, substitute-wise, we brought on Isak and ASM. So we'll go with ASM first, Alex.
I honestly don't know what to give him. I think every time he had the ball, he did generally the right thing, but I'll give him a 7. But I just feel like we're not using him at all. We keep bringing him on and just not playing anything left side.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I just don't understand why we're not doing it. It's so strange. Why bring him on if we're not going to try and use his dribbling? Because surely that is where the space then opens up. I just don't understand. I don't think he touched the ball enough or did enough to warrant much of a score anyway, which is wrong because considering he's played over half an hour, but we just didn't use him. And I like it. He's improved his game a lot. He's that selfishness has just gone. When he runs, he beats somebody, looks up and he passes every single time now, and I like that. But he's not really getting to show what he can do because we're just not using that left side whenever he's on. It's peculiar. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. And I did say in commentary yesterday that I thought it was, Maxi had been on the pitch a few minutes. He still hadn't had the ball, and they would keep going, throwing it to the right-hand side, which I found very strange. And that's not the first match that's happened. We've said that in the last few games that he's come on a substitute. It's took a while to get him the ball. One thing he did do, which I didn't like in the second half, he tried to dribble out of defence and got lucky because it only went for a throw-in. He did.
There was another
Alex.
time where he played Isak over. He played a beautiful ball over the top.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But, that's what I'm saying. He's still got to know when to dribble and when not to dribble. Just belt it away. But look, I agree 100% on what you said about Maxi. I think for some reason we're not utilising him as best we can. And that's annoying because we know what he can do and he can change a game. But when you bring him on, you want him on the ball straight away. You don't want him running around the pitch 5-6 minutes not getting the ball. It's crazy. But I'm gonna give him a 6 because, and that's not Maxi's fault either. I just think it was just average. Slightly higher than average because they didn't give him the ball enough. And then of course he got that chance where from Murphy's cross, but it came at him that quick. By the time he took the touch, the defenders were on him before he had a chance to belt the ball. So yeah, 6 for me. Billy?
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. But when we do give the ball to Maxi, it's not quick enough. Well, I watched Arsenal today and I watched Gabriel at right centre-back ping it out to Martinelli, and he was one-on-one with his defender. We don't do that. We go from Cher to Botman to Burn to Maxi, by which time there's 2 men or 3 men on Maxi. It's not fair on him. We need to get the ball out to him quicker. Give him a chance against one man. I think we'll profit from it. I thought he played well yesterday, actually, when he came on. I don't think he gave the ball away once, apart from that time when he did run out with the ball, like you mentioned. But I think he did it on another couple of occasions. He ran out with the ball and made ground. So
yeah,
I think 7's. I think 7's a fair score. I think he had a good game, actually. And defensively, also, he looked really good. Supported Burn really well. So things that we criticised him for in the past, he's learning from. I think 7's fair.
Yeah. Kenneth says Wilson made the goal. That was last week, Kenneth. We can only go on the last game. That's what we're rating
last week,
him on.
He came in the game as it went on, and I thought it'd be okay this week.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Wasn't to be.
He definitely did. And look, he set the goal up last week. Fair enough, but we can only mark on the game that we're doing, and it wasn't any good at all. I think with Maxi, it's a lot of people are saying in the chat there that he's not really an impact sub because that's not how we're using him. He needs to start games. We all said, "Oh, Maxi's on the bench. Come on as an impact sub." But the last few times he's come on as substitute, that's not the way it's been. He hasn't been an impact because we're not giving the ball quick enough.
They did also make their right back substitution to try and counteract that, which it influences it somewhat. They brought Nathaniel Klein on, didn't they? So
yeah.
Well, I just think about centre halves, how good they are at passing the ball. Why can't they go direct to Max instead of passing it along the line to Burn? So if him to give.
Well, they go right out. They go to the right-hand side, don't they? The Trippier and Miggy. I just don't know why it doesn't go the other way when they've got Maxi on, or use the ball over the top for Maxi to run onto. But hey ho, it's just the way it is at the minute. Right, Alexander Isak, Billy.
Yeah, far more of a threat than Callum was when he came on. Obviously, he's a different player, but he can make his own chances. I thought it was fair. I think he should have scored. Mind, I'll give him a 7 as well.
Yeah, I'm going with a 7 as well. I think he does look very sharp though, and what I like about Isak is when he gets the ball out on that left hand side, he takes the defender on. He gets to the byline, he cuts it back. He's looking so dangerous. But I would have given him an 8 had he not missed that header. I think that, again, he did it against Sheffield Wednesday, headed it straight against the goalkeeper. Either side, and it was a goal. But 7's a really good score considering the time he was on the pitch. So, I'm looking forward to seeing him start the game, to be honest. Alex?
Yeah, 7. I have got a bone to pick with him, but he did have a good game. I love that. There's one particular move he does that I've never seen any other player do, is if he doesn't think he's going to be able to take the defender on, he turns back to our players as if he's going to play it back across and then quickly spins around and carries on again. He fakes like he's going to turn around and go back. And it's a really cool move. I've seen him do it a couple of times now. And I've seen a clip of him do it for Sociedad as well. And it's a really little interesting move. And yeah, there's good shot, good movement, good energy. I feel like he needs to calm down a little bit though. I feel like because he's coming on, maybe this is a bit of Eddie Howe's fault as well. He's coming on late and he's trying so hard to affect the game. He's erratic, 0 out of 4 ground duels, giving away a foul. He just needs to calm down a little bit. I think this is the result of possibly using him as a late substitute. He's trying so hard to affect the game. He's just running around like a bull in a china shop. And sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. I think there are occasions when he needs to pass it out to his wingers as well, especially when he picks it up very deep. And I think the way to resolve that is start him so he's got a full game and he might be a bit calmer because he knows he's got time to affect the game and he'll be a bit better with his decision making possibly. But there's no doubt that he's an incredible player. And he was okay. He can have a 7.
Okay. Billy, have you done Isak?
Yeah, I give him 7.
Yeah. Right. Jacob Murphy, he was on for 5-6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Yeah, did create a good cross, so I'm going to give him a 6 for that cross. Yeah. Are you agreed on a 6 for Murphy, guys? Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay. We'll move on to the manager, Eddie Howe. Alex. Now this is a tough one, actually. It's not as easy as people might think.
Oh God. I will give him an 8.
Okay.
I'll give him an 8 because, like we've discussed over the course of this show, I can see new set pieces, new passing sequences and tricks and new shapes that obviously he's implementing. I love that. I appreciate that. And he can't stick the ball in the net himself. It's not his fault. He's engineering these opportunities by training the lads. And the lads are getting the opportunities. But, he can't make them finish their dinner. Maybe a bit more finishing practice and some more drills. I agree with you. I agree with all of you. I think everybody's kind of on the same page as we trust him, but all of us are we want those substitutions a little bit earlier. I'm the same. I want to trust him, but I would make them 10 minutes earlier. But he played a blinder with the whole Bruno thing, making sure that he dealt with the press properly. I thought the shape was fine. I thought we've said this before. I think we played very well. Dominated possession, 16 shots, 15 corners. We looked good. Lots of one-touch passing, lots of opportunities, and that's all that's all a result of the coaching staff and the manager. So I'll give him an 8. I'm not going to criticize the manager for people not putting their chances away. I don't think we can do that necessarily.
No, it's not Eddie's fault.
I think I'll give him an 8.
Okay, well, I'm going with a 7. simply on what you said about the substitutes, Alex. I think that should have been pretty much obvious to him, even at half-time, that he probably had to wait about 10, 15 minutes before bringing a substitute on, and it got later in the game, and I think, come on, Eddie, you need to make a change. And I just think he waits a little bit too long sometimes. But then again, I think at times, Eddie probably has too much faith in the players that maybe something is gonna happen. He trusts them for that little bit longer before making a change. But I still think they should have been on there a bit earlier. So I'm going with a 7. Billy?
I'll give him an 8. I think the subs. There's
Okay.
a reason for that. The reason for the lateness is he's only got 3 subs he can use really in his mind, and he's probably right. We've seen the depth of the squad with the Sheffield Wednesday game.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets an injury after he's made subs early, we're having to put these players on. I think he's slightly hamstrung. We know the squad's, we're third in the table with that squad. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
And we've only got 14 players, really. He thinks in his mind, perhaps 15, that he can use at a push. I think he's hamstrung with his subs because, as I say, if he gets an injury after he's made those 3 subs, he's having to put on a Richie or a Fraser or whatever. So, yeah, I think the team picks itself. The subs pick themselves to a certain extent. But like Alex says, there's definitely been a bit of ingenuity on the training pitch. And it's not Eddie Howe's fault that the players aren't putting the ball in the net. So I think 8's a fair score for him.
Billy, do you think let's say hypothetically we sign 3 players that are all first team quality, do you think we see a change in how he substitutes and like what times he substitutes?
Yes, I think we do. I think if he has more trust with who else is off the bench, I think he can make changes earlier. Unless we're behind in the game, he's not going to make the changes earlier. But bearing in mind we played really well yesterday. It was only a case of not putting the ball in the net. I think he thought it would come sooner or later, and it didn't.
Interesting. Brian, people need to remember where we were and where we've come from. Nobody's saying that. We're giving player ratings on the game we watched yesterday, not the one we watched 12 months ago or 15, 16 months ago. Yesterday. And it doesn't matter where we've come from or where we've been. We're giving player ratings on the performance yesterday. We need to stop saying, remember where we come from and all that, because nobody will forget where we've come from. That's the big thing about it. We will never be able to forget what we went through under Mike Ashley, through the crap. And we are very, very appreciative of where we are now. Absolutely we are. But we're going to rate the games on what we've seen yesterday, not last season or whatever. It doesn't mean that we're not appreciative of where we've come from. I like Coffee saying, what do you reckon of the referee?
I should have sent Gahey off for that second yellow card, Chuckle.
Yeah.
He would have given me a yellow card if I hadn't already booked him, let's be honest.
I said that at the time. I'm watching. I said exactly the same thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, I thought it was he did put his arm out to clothesline him, kind of thing, and it was a blatant yellow card. But I don't think the ref was too bad yesterday. I don't think I can sit here and say we had a bad referee yesterday. I think there was obviously some decisions which you think, oh bloody hell, but you're going to think that during the game. But when you everything calms down and you look back at the game. And you watch it again, you think, yeah, he did all right. He
didn't fall for the histrionics of the Palace players, which is a good thing, in my opinion.
Well, Ayew and Zaha especially. I mean, ridiculous, to be honest.
Ayew didn't get more in trouble than he did. He should have been booked. Annoying.
But he always is. Naif L77, thank you very much for your 1999 Saudi Arabian Riyal. He says, hello from Saudi. Always enjoy watching you guys, and I wish you success in the league and the cup. Thank you very much. And hope you're well over there in Saudi. Right, there you go, guys. That is the player ratings for this week. Who was your man of the match, guys?
Share for me.
Yeah, I'm going with Share as well, Alex.
I'll go with Trippier. Then it evens out as a Share. So
unbelievable.
Or a Shippier.
Yeah, A shippy, yeah, fair enough. Guys, thank you very much for spending your Sunday evening with us for the match review. Unfortunately, not the 3 points that we wanted, but listen, things are still very, very good at this football club. Third in the Premier League, Man United losing, Everton in disarray, unbeaten for so long, clean sheets as long as our arms. It's just fabulous at the minute. Semi-final to look forward to on Tuesday night. Commentary right here with myself on Tuesday night for the big one, semi-final at St Mary's. It's going to be a cracking, exciting night. But tomorrow night we will be back at 8 o'clock with the match preview and any latest news. Keep your eye open on the channel for any videos that might come out of any latest news from the club early morning. I like doing that now, and you guys seem to appreciate that as well. So we'll keep that going. Thank you to the Mod Squad. Brilliant job again. Thank you to Alex and Billy, of course. And thanks for all your super chats tonight, guys. And also everybody who signed up for memberships when we're not on air as well. Really, really kind of you. And thank you very much for everybody's support on the channel. But it's also, you guys out there. Thank you so much. Great viewing figures again tonight. It's fantastic that you keep coming back and spending time with us. And there's great banter goes on in the chat during the show. And that's what it's all about. So thank you very much, guys. And we'll see you live tomorrow again at 8 p.m. But keep your eyes open for any videos. Good night, guys.
Away the lads and lasses.